80s and raised in the 90s, the era of flannels, Ben Davis, and Nikes. I was introduced to the world's definition of the gang life through a series of senseless memories of gang violence that never made sense to me and still till this day don't make sense to me. For instance, when I was a little over 2 playing outside on Moreland on the other side of Eddy Street in the Horseshoe, bullets flew through my cousin's body because apparently he liked the color red and his girlfriend's older brother liked the color blue. So shooting each other was the only reasonable way to settle this dramatic, drastic, tragic difference in their short-lived lives. I was introduced to the world's definition of the gang life through music and movies that are rapped and played by actors for the sole purpose of making money and rocking jewelry. For fame and money, they were willing to plant seeds in my adolescent brain's tummy, the mind, filling it up to the point that it got so full that I began to regurgitate what I seen on TV screens and heard on stereo speakers. I was introduced to the world's definition of the gang life through insecure, prideful men full of bitterness and regrets who made the lifestyle seem so courageous and cause-worthy, but yet, as I grew, I began to realize that these were all real lies. They weren't happy. These men were miserable and lacked sincere company, and everybody knows that misery loves company. Most of these men spent years behind cold, boring walls in the midst of other angry, scared, sexually frustrated, aggressive men with nothing to look forward to, and even worse, nothing worthy of looking back to. The world's definition of the gang life was a twisted, misleading, lie-filled cause. We weren't courageous. We were scared and lacked love and our parents' attention. Yes, we spoke foolishness like, I'd take a bullet for you, homie, 1 to the brain and 1 to the chest. Blood's thicker than water unless you choose a different color or number from mine, then we're no longer brothers. You see, the world's definition of the gang life was a sad story where death and loneliness have the last laugh, where pride, pain, jealousy, and hatred drive by on a daily basis and kill every last bit of hope for a future filled with supportive faces who sincerely love you enough to tell you that you were created for greatness. I did the unthinkable. I turned my back on the lie and was introduced to the truth. No more eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth. And when I did, I found what I was looking for. A father's attention and a comfort greater than a mother's love. When I gave my life to Christ, I was introduced to God's definition of the gang life. And God's definition of the gang life had a purpose and a cause that breathed life into dry bones. And I seen it, I felt it, I tasted and saw that it was good. The cause that it came from a bloodline so pure that the OG shot caller had to be born of a virgin. The gang life was setting people free, not locking them up. It was restoring, not destroying. It was living, not dying. Shouting from the rooftop, unashamed, not staying quiet and afraid because of a man-made code of silence. The gang life opened my eyes, my heart and my mind to a love so bold it was only a matter of time before it consumed me. These men who recruited me, they were free, married, happy, joyful, singing, not mugging, giving, not taking, fixing, not breaking, keeping it real, not faking. Ooh. They were confident, transparent, and strong enough to admit their weakness and their meekness, which made them even stronger. I surrounded myself with mighty men of God who could care less about what the world had to offer. God's definition of the gang life is anointed now, still to this day it belongs to Him, and He wants this generation to know it's accepting new recruits, one soul at a time, but it's not for the weak. It's not for the coward, it's for the warrior. It's for the one who is willing to die to himself to see his purpose in life live. It's for the one who is not afraid to break down and cry in the presence of a God so powerful that His word became flesh. A God so big that this Sunday morning's earthquake was a result of a blink when He winked, saying, I'm coming soon to swoop up the troops for a cruise. God's definition of the gang life is a simple lifestyle, looked down upon those in the world but exalted by those in the heavens. This is the gang life I'm living now. Bigger than colors, numbers, and abbreviations. Death and loneliness are overcome by the resurrection. My God is more than enough protection. He's our rock and our foundation in the midst of our imperfections. He remains perfect. It's true. Now my gang life is better than yours because mine remains young and yours will grow old and eventually die, but mine will live forever even after my brain shuts down and my eyes close. When my heart stops beating and I stop breathing through my nose, I will continue to live forever by the G code. I belong to God. I am anointed. My time is now and I am here to reach this generation. Gang life.